स्थितिर्वैकुण्ठविजया पोषणं तद् अनुग्रह मन्वन्तराणि सद्धर्मा ऊतया कर्मवासना स्थितिर्वैकुण्ठविजया पोषणं तत् अनुग्रह मन्वन्तराणि सद्धर्मा ऊतया कर्मवासना स्थितिर्वैकुण्ठविजया पोषणं तत् अनुग्रह मन्वन्तराणि सद्धर्मा ऊतया कर्मवासना. Please recite.
स्थितिर्वैकुण्ठविजया पोषणं तद् अनुग्रह मन्वन्तराणि सद्धर्मा उतया कर्मवासना. हरे कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्ण. स्थितिर्वैकुण्ठविजया पोषणं तद् अनुग्रह मन्वन्तराणि सद्धर्म उतया कर्म वासना. हरे कृष्ण.
स्थितिर्वैकुण्ठ विजयः पोषणं तद् अनुग्रह मन्वन्तरनिषद्धर्म ऊतयः कर्मवासनः.
हरे कृष्ण. स्थितिर्वैकुण्ठविजया पोषणं तद् अनुग्रहः मन्वन्तराणि सद्धर्मा ऊतया कर्मवासनाः. हरे कृष्ण. थैंक यू.
Hare Krishna. स्थितिर्वैकुण्ठविजयः पोषणं तद् अनुग्रहः मन्वन्तराणि सद्धर्मा उतया कर्मवासनः. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll go to the synonyms. Sthiti, the right situation. Vaikuntha Vijaya, the victory of the Lord of Vaikuntha. Poshanam, maintenance. Tat Anugraha, his causeless mercy. Manvantarani, the reign of the Manus. Sat Dharmaha, perfect occupational duty. Utayaha, impetus to work. Karma Vasana, desire for fruitive work. Translation and purport. The right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Manus and their laws are meant to give right direction in life. The impetus for activity is the desire for fruitive work. Purport: this material world is created, maintained for some time, and again annihilated by the will of the Lord. The ingredients for creation and subordinate creator Brahma are first created by Lord Vishnu in his first and second incarnations. The first Purusha incarnation is Mahavishnu, and the second Purusha incarnation is the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, from whom Brahma is created. The third Purusha avatara is the Kshirodakasai Vishnu, who lives as the super soul of everything in the universe and maintains the creation generated by Brahma. Shiva is one of the many sons of Brahma and he annihilates the creation. Therefore, the original creator of the universe is Vishnu, and he is also the maintainer of the created beings by his causeless mercy. As such, it is the duty of all conditioned souls to acknowledge the victory of the Lord and thus become pure devotees and live peacefully in this world, where miseries and dangers are always in existence. The conditioned souls who take this material creation as the place for satisfaction of the senses and thus are illusioned by the external energy of Vishnu remain again to be subjected to the laws of material nature, creation, and destruction. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that beginning from the topmost planet of this universe down to the lowest planet, Patala Loka, all are destructible, and the conditioned souls may travel in space either by good or bad work or by modern spacecraft, but they are sure to die everywhere, although the duration of life in different planets is different. The only means to attain eternal life is to go back home, back to Godhead, where there is no more rebirth as in the material planets. The conditioned souls, being unaware of this very simple fact, because of forgetting their relationship with the Lord of Vaikuntha, try to plan out a permanent life in this material world. Being illusioned by the external energy, they thus become engaged in various types of economic and religious development, forgetting that they are meant for going back home, back to Godhead. This forgetfulness is so strong due to the influence of Maya that the conditioned souls do not at all want to go back to Godhead. By sense enjoyment, they become victims of birth and death repeatedly and thus spoil human lives, which are chances for going back to Vishnu. The directive scriptures made by the Manus in different ages and millenniums are called Sadharma, good guidance for the human beings, who should take advantage of all the revealed scriptures for their own interest to make life's successful termination. The creation is not false, but it is a temporary manifestation just to give a chance for the conditioned souls to go back to Godhead. The desire to go back to Godhead and functions performed in that direction form the right path of work. When such a regulative path is accepted, the Lord gives all protection to his devotees by his causeless mercy, while the non devotees risk their own activities to bind themselves in a chain of fruitive reactions. The word Sadharma is significant in this connection. Sadharma, or duty performed for going back to Godhead and thus becoming his unalloyed devotee, is the only pious activity. All others may pretend to be pious, but actually they are not. It is for this reason only that the Lord advises in the Bhagavad Gita that one gives up all so called religious activities and completely engage in the devotional service of the Lord to become free from all anxieties due to the dangerous life of material existence. To work situated in Sadharma is the right direction of life. One's aim of life should be to go back home, back to Godhead, and not be subjected to repeated births and deaths in the material world by getting good or bad bodies for temporary existence. Herein lies the intelligence of human life, and one should desire the activities of life in that way. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. Again, thank you all for joining for our daily Srimad Bhagavatam study. I have no qualifications to speak, but thank you for the opportunity, primarily to purify myself. I seek uh, blessings from my Gurudev, His Holiness Sachinandan Swami, and all the assembled Vaishnavas here on the call. So I can try to repeat a few points that I have read and heard. So this is a very beautiful verse. I'll read the translation again. The right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Manus and their laws are meant to give right direction in life. The impetus for activity is the desire for fruitive work. And if you see the purport, ultimately, can anyone tell what is the purport's focus is? What is the message we get from this verse?
We don't belong here, and our primary goal is to be his servant.
Yes, yes. And thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Anyone else? Is it giving a positive outlook of material life? No, right? No. Not just this verse. In so many verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam, again and again it is emphasized that this material life is miserable. It is dukhalayam ashashvatam. Yeah, just like so after reading this verse and purport, again the emphasis is given that this is a miserable place. Yeah. And Prabhupada in the purport writes, and then it reminded me of the words from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, text 58. Samashrita ye padapallavam mahat padam punyayaso murare bhavam buddhirvatsa padam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. So most of us may have at least remember the last line, right? Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. So this verse is saying that for those who accept the abode of the lotus feet of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord, who is the only shelter for this cosmic manifestation, and who is what? Murari. Why is the Lord called Murari? Because he killed the demon Mura, right? So this verse is telling from this 10th canto, if you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then this material world, again, take shelter. Very important to understand when one takes shelter, meaning complete shelter. If we really want to become free from all our problems, then we have to take complete shelter. It's not enough to take partial shelter. Of the lotus petal-like feet of Krishna. Because Krishna lives in Goloka Vrindavan, which is like lotus. And this lotus is considered, to be very beautiful, right? Soft and tender, smells very nice. And his feet are compared to that lotus petal. And everyone in this material world is trying to cross over problems of life, right? But not many people know that the real problem is the material existence. And this material existence is compared to an ocean, right? Why is it compared to an ocean? Why is it compared to an ocean? Anyone?
Because it is very vast.
Yes, very difficult to cross over, right? You can't swim across an ocean. So yes, because it's very vast and very difficult to cross. So this ocean of material existence is also unlimited, and it is filled with reactions of our karmic activities. So it's an ocean of reactions. But if we take the shelter of the Supreme Lord, or take the shelter of his great devotees, Mahatmanas to Mam Partha, those who take shelter of his pure devotees, uh, though because they have taken shelter of Krishna, right? We recite this prayer, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. I offer my respectful obeisances to Nama Om Vishnupadaya. What does it mean? Who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Vishnu, Krishna Preshthaya, who is very dear to Lord Krishna. So, by taking shelter of these great devotees who have taken shelter of Lord Krishna, this divine energy of Krishna, so because they are the captain of that boat, which can help us cross the material ocean. Yeah, so it's very important. Uh, and why this verse is talking, the 10th canto, 14th chapter, text 58 refers to Murari, right? Mura demon. Same way, we also have so many attachments to so many demons in this material world, so many for sense gratification. So, by attaching to Krishna, by attaching to the lotus feet of his pure devotees, all these demons go away. Just like, when Krishna was present, he would always kill all the demons. And wherever Krishna is present, it's all auspicious. Putana came to kill Krishna. And in the process, she was killed, right? And what position she was given? She was going around like a witch, killing all the babies. But by Krishna's touch, what position she got?
Mother Jashoda's position.
A mother in the spiritual world. Yeah. So it's very important that um, this verse is emphasizing to follow the laws of Lord, to follow the instructions of great, and the instructions of the great souls are instructions of Krishna, right? And because otherwise we are lost. And in the Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, 16th chapter, last words, I think Krishna says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Vyavasthitao. Yeah. So then he's saying our duty, the verses we'll discuss in detail about Sadharma, the purport is talking. So our duty, what is our duty? What should be done? What shouldn't be done? What are the rules and regulations? Uh, so we know Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Vyavasthito. By through the scriptures we will know. And Krishna manifests in the form of scriptures, right? Uh, so if you all remember in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, when Krishna left to his abode, the question was asked by the sages, where did religion and knowledge take its shelter? Right? And what was the answer given? One of the questions was, after Krishna left for his own abode, where did religion and knowledge take shelter?
In the Bhagavatam,
Yes, in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the laws are there. And here we also see reference to Manu Samhita. And in general, in the Manu Samhita, how instructions are given, how we can become spiritual. So we must take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, and it is same as taking shelter of Krishna. And if we take shelter, so that's what the verse is teaching. If you take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, if you take shelter of the scriptures, if you take shelter of Krishna, then what is the destination? The termination is back home, back to Godhead. Not this material world. Padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. Padam padam. Every step there is danger. So we don't know what will happen the next step. How to put the next step, where to put it. Sometimes everything appears to go so smoothly, and suddenly there is an earthquake. I was in New Jersey for a few weeks. Suddenly there was, I mean, it was mild, but still, so many places we see in, was that in Tokyo or somewhere? So, anyways, suddenly there's an earthquake. A couple of years back, I remember, I gave a Bhagavatam set, uh, or I was talking about the Bhagavatam set to a priest, and then he took it. A few months later, so he was going traveling with his family, and suddenly he met an accident. He was the temple priest at a local Sai Baba temple in Delaware. Suddenly, he wasn't driving. One of his friend was driving. He was in the front passenger seat. Rear was his wife and daughter. He survived. The driver passed away, and his wife and daughter. So this is the nature of material existence. And this verse here in the translation, Prabhupada writes, the right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind. Everybody is looking for peace, right? Uh, hmm. Sometimes there are peace rallies. There is World Peace Day that is celebrated. United Nations, everybody is meeting to celebrate or to find solutions to peace. Here in this, and just by observing a World Peace Day, we won't get peace. Krishna says here, the right situation for the living entities is to obey the laws of the Lord and thus be in perfect peace of mind under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It immediately reminded me of this verse in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the last verse, right? Bhuktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram surhudam sarvabhutanam gnatva mam shantim richati. You know, uh, one who knows that the Lord is the ultimate proprietor and benefactor of everything. Bhoktaram, he is the ultimate enjoyer, proprietor, and benefactor. Bhoktaram yagyat, of all the sacrifices. Bhoktaram yagyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Surhudam sarvabhutanam. And he is the ultimate well-wisher of all the living entities. And when we know this, yeah, then we will have peace, we will attain peace. Gnatva mam, who realizes this, gnatva mam shantim richati. Yeah. Uh, Otherwise, Maya is so powerful, it will trick us and trap us. And this whole purport in the second half of the purport, Prabhupada is talking about uh, um, um, how Maya captures us. So I was reading from the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Markandeya Rishi's story is given. You know how Markandeya Rishi wanted to see the illusory potency of the Lord. So one day he was praying to the Supreme Lord, and then the Supreme Lord was very pleased with him, and he asked for a benediction. And, okay, ask me. And this Markandeya Rishi, he wanted to see the Lord's illusory energy. It's a very interesting lesson in here. So the Lord, who was present in the form of Naranarayan, in front of him, said, okay, be it, tadastu. Yeah. And then left for Badrikashram. So one day, when Markandeya Rishi was offering his evening prayers, What happened? As we are reading here in this verse, there is creation, maintenance, and annihilation. So the Lord gave him a glimpse of his illusory potency. And what happened in the evening when he was offering prayers? Devastation happened, and what happened? Full flooding. All the three worlds were flooded. Uh, and Markandeya Rishi had so much difficulty, but finally, somehow, uh, after struggling in this water for a long time, he came uh, too close to a banyan tree. And on that banyan tree, on a leaf, was this infant boy, the Lord Himself, with his beautiful, charming effulgence. And as Markandeya Rishi, moved closer. You know what happened? Anybody knows what happened?
It's a beautiful lady.
Huh? This boy inhaled. What happened? Just like, a tiny mosquito sometimes when you inhale will go in, right? Like that Markandeya Rishi went inside the body of this infant boy, just to show him the glimpse of his illusory potency. Huh? And inside this infant's, a baby boy's body, Markandeya Rishi was amazed to see the entire universe, just like it was before the annihilation. Huh? So, first by the devastation, he was in great difficulty and fully flooded everywhere. Then, by inhalation, he went into the body. Then, what happened? The boy exhaled. And what happened? Again, Markandeya Rishi fell into that annihilation, into that ocean of annihilation. Yeah. Uh, then he realized that that child was actually Lord Hari, the transcendental Lord who was also situated in his heart. Uh, uh, and when Markandeya Rishi tried again to embrace Lord Hari, he disappeared. Uh, of course, as a part of the Leela, even the water of annihilation disappeared, but then Markandeya Rishi realized, and he was back in his ashram. So the point is, uh, it's a good lesson to learn. He was such an elevated personality, but at the same time, he was so curious for Lord's illusory energy. Uh, just thinking, sometimes I also, a living entity, become so curious. What will this taste like? What will this feel like? Or how will this look like? This is the whole idea of material world, right? Uh, Maya is always saying, come on, try it out, check it out. It'll be good. And on site, the great devotees and the instructions of the Lord is don't try, don't fall for it. But Maya, come on, try it one more time. Sometimes our mind is strict, and we fall for it. Uh, one time, one last time, let's try it. But we know so many times we have read and experienced that it is simply chewing the chewed. But still we think, oh, let me try it one more time. Maybe this time it will taste better. Or maybe this time the taste will last longer. And as Prabhupada explains in this purport, we are thinking the bigger problems in life, or generally most people think that, wealth or a bigger house, more wealth or a better job or whatever temporary, miseries we have are the real problems of our life. But Prabhupada is explaining here, no, these are not the real problems of our life. This material existence in this material world, dukkhalayam shashvatam. That is why again and again the instructions are given through Guru and Krishna in these scriptures. What? Don't get out of this material world. Get out. That's why great souls are ascertaining, don't come back to this material world because it is full of misery. Even if we get a comfortable position, if we think about it, it's temporary. I may think if I go to a better city or some other place, better job, better this, or a higher planet to enjoy better. But that's where this chapter is also talking about. Prabhupada writes in the purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the beginning from the topmost planet of this universe down to the lowest planet, Patala Loka, all are destructible, and conditioned souls may travel in space either by good or bad work or by modern spacecraft, but they are sure to die everywhere. Does it remind you of any verse from the Bhagavad Gita? Anyone? No?
Don't know the verse completely, but Abhuvana Loka.
Yes, yes. Abrahma bhuvanaloka punaravartino Arjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Yes. Abrahma bhuvanaloka. From the highest planet in the material world, which is the Brahmaloka, to the lowest Patala Loka, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. So Prabhupada is explaining this. This is the point here. Yeah. So all places. But by the influence of Maya, I think that I can enjoy here, that this time it will work. So because of Maya, because of the material energy. Yeah. But whatever happiness is due in course of time will come, and so is misery. So that's why Krishna, as soon as he establishes in the Bhagavad Gita that you are not this body, I'm not this body, I'm the soul, right? Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantar praptir dhiras tatra namai. So as soon as he establishes that, a sober person is not bewildered by this change, you are not this body, you're the soul, the body is temporary. What does he say immediately? The next verse? What is the next verse after that? Matra sparshastu kaunte.
Sukaunteya Sitoshna Sukadukada
Yeah.
Agamapai.
Anityascha tam stitikshasva bharata. That one must tolerate.
Yeah.
And that's why again and again in this verse also he's saying the only solution is to take shelter of the spiritual energy of the Lord. As soon as we take shelter of Krishna, we are safe. And Bhagavatam is saying this is real intelligence. Because, and the other word in this verse is, if you see, Vaikuntha Vijaya. What is the meaning of the word Vijaya?
Victory.
Victory, victorious. Who is Vijaya? Who is victorious?
Arjuna.
Yes, but here Vaikuntha Vijaya.
Oh, Vishnu.
Yeah, Lord Vishnu. Yeah. So the point for us is we can't win in this material world. Forget about winning, we can't even break even in this material world. So what is the point? That is why we have to endeavor for the spiritual world, where we can never lose, right? For Krishna, everything is gain, but for us, if we are in this material world, trying to enjoy separately from Krishna, then what is happening? We are losing. We're losing, But on the contrary, he says, if you endeavor for the spiritual world, there is no loss. We can never lose. Again, in the second chapter, 40th text, Krishna says, Neha Bhikramanasosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Right? So he's saying there is no loss or diminution in this path, and the little progress or advancement will protect us from the greatest danger. Trayate mahato bhayat. And what is that greatest danger? What is the greatest danger? Can anyone say?
Existing in this world.
Yeah, can you be a little more specific?
The fear of death.
Coming back again and again.
Oh, the greatest danger is to fall down into
Falling.
animal species of life.
Falling.
Into animal species of life. So that's why in that verse he says, Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Swalpam means
Little bit.
even if you make little 1% advancement, he is saying what will happen in the next life? Krishna gives two guarantees.
You'll get a good life.
You will begin your next life from where you left. If you did 1%, you start from 2%. And you'll get human life, and that too in a rich aristocratic Brahmana family where you can continue your spiritual journey by creating an environment for you which is very favorable for bhakti. That is why you see, right, how some children are born in a much more favorable Krishna conscious play environment compared to others. Right? So the greatest danger is animal species of life. Total ignorance, no chance. Right? So this is the greatest danger. We have to, so there is no, it's a loss if we don't endeavor for spiritual world. We are defeated, we are doomed. That's why we say, right, after all the prayers, we say Jai, Jai, especially Vaisheshika Prabhu. I remember, right, Jai. What does the word Jaya mean?
Victory.
Huh?
Victory?
Yeah, victorious. And how can we be victorious? Not by following our mind, because our mind will trick us and trap us. I remember, especially this alarm clock. Put the alarm at 4:30, whenever that is. Yeah. And then mind says, oh, turn it off. You can sleep for 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes. Yeah. Then it's 6:37. Then you wake up, say, oh, then the same mind which told us turn the alarm off is going to say, how could you be so foolish, stupid, Prananath? The same mind will trick us and trap us. So if we follow our mind. But by following Krishna's instructions, we should try to become Krishna conscious. Otherwise, another body. That's what Prabhupada is writing here in this purport. Another body. And again, we'll try to be materially happy. Again, what will happen? Another life of disappointment and misery. Hmm. Continue. And this is ignorance. And if we keep on taking one body after other, one body after other, yeah. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in one of the purports, Prabhupada explains it's like the monkeys. The monkey jumps from one branch to other, one branch to other. In one of these letters, Prabhupada writes, monkeys have as many as 12 wives. They're jumping one tree to other tree, one tree to other tree for a female monkey. So like that, the living entity says is changing bodies, life after life after life, like jumping from one branch to other branch. So, we need to take to Krishna consciousness to develop love for Krishna and go back to spiritual world. And Prabhupada ends or that paragraph by saying, everyone lives eternally under the shelter of Krishna, right? Just like, I was also recently looking, or I am looking, for this. You're looking, when you are looking for your kids to go to school, whether it is elementary school, middle school, high school, you are looking for nice school district, a nice neighborhood, right? Why? Generally we say, oh, the neighborhood is good, the people are nice, right? Generally the perception is that, like we move from one neighborhood to the other. So the topmost neighborhood is Goloka. It's very beautiful. And by going there, we also become nice. Yeah. So this is one. And then the second part of this purport is focusing on the word Sadharma, which is also there in the verse. Any answers on what is Sadharma? What is the meaning of the word Sadharma? Sat means what?
Good.
Hmm.
So
Sat
we
Chit
have to,
Anand.
we can, means we have to follow, we have to do our duty which is prescribed. That is Sadharma.
Hmm. Okay. And in fact, Prabhupada also writes in today's purport itself, Sadharma or duty performed for going back to Godhead and thus becoming his unalloyed devotee is the only pious activity. All others may pretend to be pious, but actually they are not. So, the Sat means eternal, right? Sat Chit Ananda, right? We said Lord is eternal, Chit is full of knowledge, and Ananda is blissful. So, Dharma, many places uh, we see sometimes we read the meaning as religion, right? But Prabhupada explains that's not the exact meaning. Dharma means the occupational duty. That duty which cannot be given up is dharma, that you cannot separate from oneself. For example, fire is there, right? Can you separate the warmth from the fire? So, warmth is the dharma of fire. Therefore, warmth is called dharma or nature of fire. Similarly, sat dharma means eternal occupation of the living entity. And what is the eternal occupation of the living entity?
I think
It's
purify
Vaikuntha.
ourselves, purify our soul
Yeah.
or some.
Apratihata ahaituki bhakti, loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jivera Swarup hoye nityera Krishna Das. Right? So the eternal dharma of the living entity is to perform loving devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, that's what Sadharma. Do you remember hearing this word anywhere else? Sadharma. So I was, remembering this Sri Sad Goswami Ashtakam by Srinivasa Acharya Prabhu. So, in where the glories of the six Goswamis are there, I'm not very good at reciting, but I'll try. So, Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunau Sadharma Samstapakau लोकानां हितकरिणौ त्रिभुवने मन्यौ शरण्यकरौ राधाकृष्णपदारविन्दभजना नन्देन मत्तलिकौ वन्दे रूपसनातनौ रघुयुगौ श्रीजीवगोपालकौ. Right, in the first line we see Sadharma Samsthapakau. Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipunau Sadharma Samsthapako. So this verse we are offering six obeisances, when we are reading Nectar of Devotion. We offer these six obeisances to the six Goswamis. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Jiva Goswami, right? Uh, Nana Shastra, they are experts in the Shastras, in the revealed scriptures. Why? They are expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures. Why? Why are they studying? Scrutinizingly. Sadharma samsthapaka, to establish Sadharma, eternal religious principles, for the benefit, for who? Lokanam hitakarino, lokahita, for the benefit of all the human beings. That's why they are glorified. Tribhuvane manya sharanya karo. They are glorified all over the three worlds. And they are worth taking shelter of. We should take shelter of such Goswamis because they are always absorbed in the mood Radha Krishna Padaravinda, having taken shelter in the transcendental loving bhajananandena. So they are always engaged in transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. So this word comes Sadharma. So Sat means eternal. So the real occupational duty, that duty which never changes. It's very important to remember. Otherwise, except that Sadharma, right? Sat means eternal dharma, which is loving devotional service to the Lord. What is the opposite of Sat Dharma? Sat, Asat, right? Anything that we do other than that is Asat Dharma. It will not stay, it is temporary. So Prabhupada writes in many places that, and what is Asat Dharma? Is to have this false conception that I am this body. Yeah, everybody knows the body is temporary. That's why it is asat. This is another point he is making, that this material world is not false. It is temporary. In this purport, Prabhupada writes. This is very, see, there are so many different categories of people in this world. And as we heard and read and experienced so many times, this world is not a happy place for anyone. Prabhupada writes, right? It's not a place for gentlemen. Yeah, for any sane gentleman. Yeah. And the Lord Himself is describing this material world as temporary and full of miseries. But the Mayavadi philosophers, they say this world is false. No, Prabhupada is explaining here, it is not false, it is temporary. And it is temporary and it is miserable. But there is another world, the spiritual world, which is eternal and blissful. So he says, by taking my shelter, by taking to this process, everyone can be eternally happy. Otherwise, there is no question of happiness. And the solution to all problems for all classes of men is devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And therefore, again and again, it's emphasized in the scriptures that one should take to this process of Krishna consciousness and make oneself perfect. Yeah. And then in the Bhagavatam also, right in the beginning, so I'm just adding one more point about this Sadharma or Asadharma. Yeah, in the beginning. So Prabhupada also talks in this words. I'm sorry, I was gonna ask. So he says it is for this reason only that the Lord advises in the Bhagavad Gita that one gives up so-called religious activities and completely engage in devotional service of the Lord to become free from all anxieties. Anybody remembers what words this could be? To give up all varieties of religion?
सर्वधर्मान् परित्याज्य
Yes, sarvadharman parityajya mamekam
Sharanam Braja. Aham
aham
papebhyo mokshichyam
Yes.
asucha.
So all religions, all materially motivated religion, dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam satham, right? Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. Materially motivated. Yeah. So this is our eternal duty, and when the living entity ask this question, who am I? What is my duty? What is the purpose of life? That's when the life as a human being begins, when I inquire these questions. Otherwise, in general, as this first canto, first chapter, second verse, Dharma projita kaitavatra nirmatsaranam satam, that verse says, most people in general think, dharma is for artha, economic development, fulfill our desires, kama, lust. Then if lust is not fulfilled,
Not child.
then yeah, then you are frustrated, then you seek
Not
no. Yeah. And that's why motivated people, they are not approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They approach this self-help gurus, this demigods. So Bhagavatam is saying, reject all these selfishly motivated dharmas, and it teaches Sadharma, eternal occupation. Yeah, just few points I wanted to share today. I will pause here for any corrections, comments, additions. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I have a real quick question for you. I know that you had noted that the worst possible thing that could happen is to go back into an animal body, to go back into an animal life.
Ah.
Brother Bart went back into the deer's body, and that seemed to be beneficial for him, though. Is he the exception to the rule, do you think? I'm guessing if we go back to an animal body, we don't have that consciousness to say, like, boy, I messed up. I can't wait to get back to an animal life like he did, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Excellent question. So we have to look at it first. Before he getting a deer's body, who was he? Was he engaged in gross sense gratification? And because of his karmic reactions, was he very sinful? No, he was a great devotee of the Lord. In fact, he renounced his kingdom, his family, and everybody and went to the forest to meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Uh, and somehow, he developed some attachment to the deer. That was an instruction to teach us that one should be very, very careful. And because he was a sincere devotee all through his life, and at the fag end of his life, he developed some attachment. The Lord was very merciful and kind to him, that even though he got a deer's body, he still helped him to remember his past life. You see, this is the greatest protection that the Lord gives. His bhakti never went away. Okay, but what we are talking about in this verse 2.40, neha vikramanasosthi pratyavayona vidyate svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat, is if I don't take to the process of Krishna consciousness at all, then there is no chance. If I fall down into an animal species, then it might take millions of births before I can get an animal body. So there, because he was a great devotee of the Lord, and then, for a very short period, because that was to teach us that at the end of the life, whatever you think, whomever your attachment is for, you will get a suitable body, right? In the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, right? So, but because of his attachment at the end of his life, he was remembering that deer, he got the body of the deer, but the Lord was very merciful because of all the bhakti that he did, that he helped him remember. So it is a lesson for us where our attachment should be at the end of our life. Does that help, Prabhu?
That does, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other corrections, comments? I see Dronacharya Prabhu is on the call. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Not sure if you're in a position to unmute and speak.
Hare Krishna, Prananath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my
Very,
humble
very nice presentation on the Krishna consciousness. I really liked. I have no comments or questions, just an appreciation. I like the way that you take us through and bring in other verses. It helps us remind, cross-references the verses from the Bhagavad Gita and keeps us sharp. This is important because when we remember these verses, especially in classes like this, will also help us remember them throughout the day and at important times in our life. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Like Prabhu said, if we remember these verses again and again, because we learned these verses, and if situation would come, then we just would use them and we forget. So this is the best way to remember these verses.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. This is a very nice point that Dronacharya Prabhu mentioned, and you also said. When I was reading this purport yesterday, several of these lines, words where, this is a translation of some words. This is a word that came in one of the verses. So it was coming back for me also. It helped, when I was reading. This purport had so many of those references to so many of the verses in Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada also again and again says, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
So that is a reminder for us also that, yeah, go find that words.
It's a very good way of remembering all these verses. Every class, I appreciate if everybody does it for me. Because people give the classes, that's why you have a little bit of touch in that. For us, if you don't take us like that, we don't use them. That's the weakness.
One
That's not an
suggestion,
excuse.
Mataji, is, yeah, I know it is, yes, of course, if you hear and speak more often, then you'll remember, and the more you can share with your friends, your family, any one person, find a a partner for reading Prabhupada's books, a partner to recite the shlokas, a partner to, somebody who is a little more advanced than you, who is more motivated, generally helps in my experience. So and other option is just pick up the book for ourselves and then, every day just recite 10 minutes, 15 minutes it takes, one chapter, all the shlokas or the chad, as your Guru Maharaj says, right? Chapter a day. Just keep reciting every day. And hopefully
you read the slokas, chanting every day. But to put the correct place, when you are saying like that, it won't struck to me. That's what my weakness, I think. Anyway, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for nice class.
Yeah, it also reminded me of Gajendra elephant. He did bhakti, but the bhakti he remembered Krishna's mercy. He remembered that shloka and then he did the prayers. So our bhakti continues even if like whatever we do.
Yes. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Yes, he was Indradumna, King Indradumna in his past life. Yes, Mataji, that's why body will be slain, but the bhakti will never be lost. That's why he says, anything in the bank balance, material account, how much ever is there is gone with this life. But whatever bhakti we do will be in our eternal bank account, eternal. It never goes. And Krishna says, he'll protect us. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वं सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि. Sarvapapebhyo. Not just this one, that one. Sarvapapebhyo. Yes, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, it's close to 9, so we can end here unless I see anyone else. Thank you so much. We'll continue tomorrow. I think tomorrow is Wednesday with Chaitanya Charitamrita class by His Grace Vishnu Vada Prabhu. Thank you so
very
much.
much, Prabhu.
Granth Raj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaudiya Vaishnava.
Upasindobhye yoja patitanam
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo
namo
namaha.
namaha.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.